every color we unite, together we shine, bring the light. Through stormy weather, through the pain, with open hearts, we'll break the chains. It's you and me, we'll stand so tall, in the rainbow's embrace, we'll never fall. Hand in hand, we'll share the dream, a tapestry of love, woven at the seams. With every hue of voice is strong, together is one, where we all belong. It's you and me, we'll rise above, in the rainbow's embrace, we spread our love. In every corner of the earth we sing, a symphony of hope that unity brings. With every color, let our love soar, together as one, forevermore.
Good evening and welcome to the Universal Rainbow Faith Church right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. My name is Paula Sadler and I am the founding minister and president here at URF, and I welcome you all this evening to our July 20th, 2025 weekly live stream service. Welcome on YouTube, welcome on TikTok, and welcome on Facebook. And we're so glad to see all of our friends back on TikTok. We missed you for the past week and a half. We weren't on last week as we were waiting for our live to be restored. And half of our service previously, the week before that, we actually went offline momentarily. But you can see that full service on YouTube for last week and the week before for all of our TikTok viewers. We may upload that as well to TikTok for you to see. All right, well, here we are on Sunday, and we're following up our series, The Sacred Act of Showing Up. This is part 2 and the final in this 2-part series. And our theme these past weeks has been sacred visibility and the power of being seen. I hope you enjoyed our opening song. That was Embracing Togetherness, our original URF anthem, and all of our music is available on YouTube on our Sacred Music playlist, and we do also release them on TikTok as well. These are all original songs curated and created for each and every service to enhance all that we're doing here and our message to you. So welcome, beloveds. We gather today in the sacred spirit of love, unity, and courageous presence. This month's series, The Sacred Act of Showing Up, invites us to embrace the bravery of being seen, standing in truth, and showing up for ourselves, our community, and our callings. Our mission statement: Universal Rainbow Faith is a sacred spiritual home where LGBTQIA+ and allies are fully affirmed, celebrated, and protected. We believe that gender, love, and identity are divine expressions of the Creator. Our mission is to uplift, heal, and empower individuals through spiritual truth, radical inclusion, and sacred community. We are activating the rainbow light of love to affirm the sacredness of every person, especially those long denied, excluded, or erased. We exist to heal spiritual trauma, celebrate LGBTQIA+ divinity, and restore dignity to all people across body, mind, and spirit. We affirm the activating presence of sacred power within us. We are the living light of transformation, resilience, and divine justice. Together we rise with love, truth, and purpose. And let us take a few moments to center ourselves and to do our centering breath practice. And so just relax, take a deep breath in, and let us take a moment to just gently arrive into the here and now. And exhale. Take another deep breath in and breathe out. Place your hand on your heart and know that you are here, that you are sacred, and that you are home. Our announcements this week. We have a new blog post, The Year the Rainbow Vanished. It's a prophetic spiritual message about erasure, sacred visibility, and spiritual resistance. You can read this full article at the universalrainbowfaith.org under the top right-hand drop-down menu under blog, or just scroll down all the way to the bottom of our homepage for all of our blogs. We are so excited. You can now give and contribute with Tithely. We officially launched with Tithely for all giving and fundraising campaigns. Remember, your love sustains our mission. universalrainbowfaith.org/give. And just a little note, we can no longer recommend Zephy despite our verified nonprofit status. Zephy closed our account without warning after a small number of disputed donations. We found that their platform was unsupportive of LGBTQ plus faith organizations. So we're made part ways with them, and now we're with Tithely, and so happy about that. So we have our July calendar, and this week we are focusing on sacred visibility and the power of being seen, honoring our divine right to be seen, named, and celebrated. Next week, mark your calendars for July 27th for radiant resilience, holding the light through shadows, and exploring how we maintain spiritual visibility in the face of challenge, erasure, and opposition. I am so grateful to announce that I will also be speaking at Unity of Las Vegas next week at 11:30 a.m. for a live service. It is also available online as well on their YouTube channel. And I've been invited as a spiritual guest speaker, and I'm so excited to be doing the 30-minute talk with meditation. And my talk is titled Serendipity, Synchronicity, and Silence. And it will focus on miracles in our lives. And so I invite you all to tune in to Unity next week at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you're here in Las Vegas, join us in person on Rancho Drive. So excited about that. And if you can't make it, you can always watch it later on. They are recorded and available in their live channel studio. And that concludes our announcements. Also this month, we do continue to celebrate Saint Marcia P. Johnson, one of our over 12 saints that we have, the revolutionary of love. Her life and legacy guide our hearts through pride and beyond. And you can view all of our saints and divine guardians at universalrainbowfaith.org under our teachings tab. All right. And Marcia reminds us that as we show up in our own visibility, we invoke her spirit of joyful defiance, radical love, and truth-telling. Our children's message and blessing for all of our young viewers, children, young adults, and teenagers. Being you is brave and beautiful. Know that. And know that we share how showing up as your true self is the most sacred act of all. And that's what we're doing here at the Universal Rainbow Faith Church. We are here to support you, all of our youth, all of our young LGBTQ children, all of our trans and non-binary children and young adults, And we want you to know that we are showing up as our true self and demonstrating how that is. Because remember, we used to be you, and we were 5, 10, and 15 years old, and we were young, and we know just what you're going through. And so we are here for you. Our weekly reading from The Nature of Miracles. Know that you are never lost. Even when you feel hidden or unseen, Spirit sees you. The angels surround you, and you are held by something far greater than any fear. Affirmation. I am seen, I am known, and I am loved. And here's a copy of The Nature of Miracles, my book written after 9/11, and a 20th anniversary edition published just recently, October as an ebook, and November as a hardcover and paperback. And there's one way that you can use my book is simply to ask what it is that you need to know, or maybe you're asking for a friend and you're seeking that divine guidance. And you can just simply say, what do I need to know right now? Or what does the world need to know right now? What message do you have for us as you ask the divine, as you ask your conception of God in your life? And so let us do that now. Let's just see what it brings us. And we can just ask, what do our viewers need to know right now? What does the world need to know right now? And we give thanks for that guidance in advance. We say thank you, and so it is. Amen. And so, page 79. Dear Father, Mother God, angels, nature spirits, to all the entities and energies of the universe which are here to enlighten, bring peace, love, joy, and harmony to the planet, I call on you now to be in this place. I wish to go to the place of the Most High, to receive the wisdom of heavens. I dedicate my life to you, God. I now, in this moment, rededicate my life to you, and thank you for all of the blessings that we are receiving. Dear Heart of God, what is the message you have to share with us today? Hello, children, my precious children of earth. I love you. Love is what I am. Peace I bring to you as a lesson and gift. In each of your relationships with one another, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin anew in you each and every moment. There is peace, and peace is real. Peace comes from the awareness of feeling me in your heart. Affirm what it is that you want, and that it is already yours, because the truth is that it is. And to think otherwise, that you do not have abundance, health, wealth, peace, love, is an illusion. We, the angels of your planet, come to you from the highest place in the universe, from deep within. We are here, and we are real. You are being gently guided and nurtured and asked to open your hearts to your own receptive nature, and be willing to change your minds about the beliefs you now have, and be open to the nature of miracles. The planet will find peace when you begin to accept the fact that miracles are real and exist, and that peace in the world will grow when you nurture your awareness with daily prayer, quiet reflection, and restful sleep. To live a life on natural high and promptings of spirit is to live divinely. To do anything less is to live in disharmony and war with oneself. Ola kana toru ini malashi ronoshti osa alaman ashni. Spirit says, peace is now born in your hearts, anew in this moment. God is here, and all is well. We pray for you on our side, that you find total peace. That which you desire is born out of your return to love, your return to a state of grace, and your return to your rightful home in love. Thank you, Spirit, for this message. Bless you, all my brothers and sisters. And that message could not be more poignant and needed today, I think, more than ever before in history that we have seen. And that's one of the ways that you can use your copy of The Nature of Miracles. It is a beautiful spiritual book filled with prayers, meditations, affirmations, channeled writing, guidance, also my own personal experience of awakening and coming to know this higher power, this force, to know my own conception of God many, many years ago as my journey continued, and especially right after 9/11. And we've seen such chaos and terror. And we need this now more than ever before. And what a beautiful message. And that is how divine guidance works. That is how intuition works. You don't have to have any special degrees. You don't have to be a reverend or a minister or a pastor. It's for everyone, for everyday people. And all you have to do is have an open mind, clear your mind, ask a question, go to the page and read, and then take that in and contemplate what that means for you right now. So thank you for letting me share that. That is The Nature of Miracles, available on Amazon. Please help get the word out about this book. It is timely and needed not only for our community, but for everyone. And who wouldn't benefit for a more enlightened and awakened consciousness, a more enlightened and awakened state of being, and to cultivate the presence and the awareness of love within the heart, and to allow that to become the focal point of one's life in our daily actions and our thoughts and our every way of being, and with every in-breath and with every out-breath. Can you imagine what the world would be like with that? And to get there, we have to work at that, and we have to practice. And with my book, that is one of the ways in which you can do that as well. So our message today, sacred visibility and the power of being seen. Beloveds, we gather today not just to worship, but to remember who we are, what we carry, and what the world is trying to erase. The Spirit brought me a vision, a prophecy, a warning, and I turned that vision into a blog recently called The Year the Rainbow Vanished. Today I will talk about that because the time for silence is over, my friends. So let us begin with the question that birthed this whole revelation this past week. What would happen if all transgender people were forced to medically detransition and all LGBTQ plus people were forced to convert? What would happen if we were erased, all of the many millions of us across the globe? And so this brought me to the story and thinking about Cain and Abel and the parallels of that story and what we're seeing now. So the Cain and Abel story is not new. In fact, it's the oldest one in the Bible. In Genesis, Cain kills Abel out of jealousy, out of shame, out of rejection, not because Abel did anything wrong, but because Cain couldn't handle that God saw the truth in Abel's offering. And my friends, all of us, we are able. Those who are living with the consciousness of compassion and empathy and love and trying to make the world a better place, inclusive for everyone to be here, to live with dignity and grace, without violence and without shame, without guilt, to simply be. And as we are bringing our most authentic and real selves, that is something that's uplifting humanity, while those that oppose say that we're not. And so I tell you, we are able. Our community, the LGBTQIA plus community and allies, are all able. And all those who are working towards uplifting humanity and the consciousness of humanity to a state of unconditional love, grace, and compassion, we are able. And so those who legislate hate, criminalize care, erase history, preach bigotry from pulpits, they are Cain. And I ask you, when you see someone thriving in authenticity, do we celebrate them or do we react like Cain? Let us affirm, I celebrate the light in others. I do not fear it. I do not envy it. I honor it. I celebrate the light in others. I do not fear it. I do not envy it. I honor it. And the reality of erasure. In my working on this talk this week, what I saw was the reality of erasure, a possibility of this complete erasure. And I saw a world where the rainbow was gone, not literally, but systemically erased. Pride flags outlawed, gender affirming care banned, LGBTQIA plus books deleted from shelves, trans children stripped of names, rights, and existence, drag made criminal, supportive parents turned into criminals. And my friends, that is already happening. And if you think that it stops there, remember, Cain didn't stop with Abel. He walked away from God. So I ask you, who are we walking away from when we erase a life? Let us affirm, I choose to see every human being as sacred. I do not walk away. I witness. I protect. And right now, what we are seeing is the lie of Christian nationalism. The 10 Commandments are being forced into classrooms, Bibles handed out, but not in love, my friends, in control and in dominion. Jesus said, what you do to the least of these, you do to me. He never called for laws to criminalize gender, erase books, deport immigrants, or vilify the poor and strip away women's rights. Let me say it plainly. Jesus is not MAGA, and Jesus is not the GOP. They invoke Christ to justify Cain's murder, and that is blasphemy, my friends. And I ask you, when you hear someone use religion to justify cruelty, do you speak up? Or do you stay silent? For me, right here, right now, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, on all those who will view this later and see this for however long it will continue to exist in the digital universe that we have, that this is me standing up. This is me speaking up. And this is me not staying silent, not just here in this space, but across my personal interactions and social medias and day-to-day living. We must speak up and we must not stay silent, because silence equals death, my friends. And you may not see it right away, but it will happen. We must keep hope alive, and we must be the demonstration of God's grace in this world to show others who are misled and misguided. But what is the cost of erasure? And what happens when the rainbow vanishes, my friends? Mental health collapses, suicide rates skyrocket, culture dries up, spirituality is replaced with control, and diversity becomes illegal. But you see, God made the rainbow as a covenant after the flood. It was never meant to vanish. The world without LGBTQIA plus people is not holy, it is hollow. And so I ask you, can you imagine a world without our joy, our music, our art, our truth, our love? Think about that. Let us affirm, I am part of the rainbow. I am the living covenant of love. I am a part of the rainbow, and I am a living covenant of love. And what is the resistance of Abel? What does he share with us? The spiritual truth. Abel may have died in body, but his truth lived on. In every trans child who speaks their name, in every queer elder who dances with freedom, in every drag queen who turns lipstick into liturgy, in every immigrant who carries faith across borders, in every disabled, poor, black, or brown soul who dare to exist fully, and in every woman who seeks to have autonomy over her own body. We are the voices that rise from the ground. We are the seeds they tried to bury. And now we grow, strong and tall, reaching out to the heavens and to the sunlight. And let us affirm, I rise like Abel. My truth is eternal, and my life is divine. And what is the theological lie that we are seeing now? It tells us if you don't fit the mold, you're not just excluded, you're accused, punished, or erased. Nowhere in the Bible does Jesus call for the execution of gay people. Nowhere does God demand the sterilization of trans youth. Nowhere do the Gospels preach hatred of immigrants, the poor, or the disabled. This is not Christianity. It is idolatry, power in God's name. To all those who belong to one or more of these targeted groups, I want to gather you up. I want to hold you and give you all the love that I have in my heart and all the love that is in the world and that is coming from the divine. It is coming from God. It is coming from the all source. And to know you are not a threat. You are the light. You are not what's wrong with this country or this world. You are what makes it sacred. And I love you. God loves you. And you are so blessed, and you will be rewarded for your strength and your courage and your faith. So we see you, we remember, and we rise. I want you to feel that inside, that we see you, we remember, and we rise. And a final word about Cain can no longer lead the church. Beloved family of spirit, what we are witnessing now across this country and in the world, but mostly here in the United States, is the story of Cain and Abel playing out once again, our modern day version. And Cain struck down his brother, not because Abel did any harm to him, but because Abel's truth revealed Cain's emptiness. So the GOP and MAGA and those who believe like that movement, they have become the modern Cain that we are seeing. They legislate harm, criminalize difference, and weaponizing God, a God of love. But Jesus never did these things. Jesus never cursed the gay or imprisoned the trans or deported immigrants or mocked the disabled or punished the poor. This, what we're seeing, is the spell of the great adversary, of the unawakened, of those who are suffering from spiritual amnesia and are disconnected from unconditional love and the true meaning of Christianity, while they claim to be. And so, what do? Ban gender-affirming care, call queer people groomers, strip trans youth from their families, and replace Christ's love with fear and nationalism. But yet, we, as Abel, still live. Abel still lives, and he lives in every soul who survives, sings, resists, and rises. So let us say clearly now, LGBTQIA plus people are not the enemy. God is not MAGA or the GOP, and Cain has no place at the altar of love. And a story that came to me You can also read this on our blog, and more details about all that I'm talking about with a full op-ed on this topic. The year the rainbow vanished, a story of what was and what was allowed to be. It began slowly, as most tragedies do, not with bullets or bombs, but with bans and bills, dressed in morality, cloaked in concern for children, and justified with scripture twisted into a weapon of hatred. By 2025, over 23 states had outlawed gender-affirming care for transgender youth. Many outlawed care for the adults soon after. Parents who supported their children and loved them were charged with child abuse. Doctors who cared deeply about their patients and their care and well-being were imprisoned. Schools were barred from speaking about gender, love, or pride. Books were burned not by fire, but by algorithm and law. The word conversion therapy was too honest, so they called it exploratory therapy. But the electrodes returned, the shame returned, the coercion, the psychological abuse, and the screams of children praying to be fixed. And when it didn't work, they simply stepped back and watched us die. In 2030, the Great Rainbow Erasure. By 2030, LGBTQIA plus flags were declared political hate symbols. Pride parades were outlawed. Rainbow clothing was banned in public schools. Wearing eyeliner as a boy became grounds for suspension. A transgender woman using a woman's restroom was now a felony in most states. Non-compliant people were placed on state surveillance lists. Some were sent to rehabilitation centers where gender was corrected, voices retrained, and appearances monitored. If the person refused, they were given a choice: medical programming, imprisonment, or, in the most horrifying cases, state-sanctioned assisted suicide. It was always framed with a smile. If you truly believe you can't be fixed, then perhaps you'd be more at peace no longer existing. They even created a name for it, the Compassion Exit Program. 2045, the invasion of the mind. The America of 2045 looked much like the world in Invasion of the Body Snatchers movie. Uniform, compliant, terrified of color. The children of that time didn't know what a drag queen was. They didn't know who Harvey Milk was. They didn't know that love came in many forms, or that pronouns could be sacred and joyful, or that gender was a divine expression of soul. Everyone looked the same. They talked the same. They believed the same, because to be different was now a death sentence. And in 2075, the world without us. A century had passed since Stonewall. There were no transgender people anymore, not officially. No binary, no queer spaces, no pride. Even mentioning you used to be gay could result in expulsion from your job, church, or community. And in this world, art became flat, music became repetitive, joy was replaced by righteous obedience. Spirituality was replaced with dogma and control. Empathy died, and so did truth. There were only two genders, only one God, only one truth, and yet suicide rates were higher than ever. People were hollow, disconnected, afraid to speak, touch, or feel. They had achieved their goal, a world with no visible LGBTQIA plus people. But in doing so, they created a world with no soul. And where was Jesus? Let us ask clearly, where did Jesus say to lobotomize the child who says they're different? Where did Jesus command the execution of a transgender person? Where did the Bible justify torture disguised as therapy or erasure in the name of God? He didn't. Not once. But Jesus did say, Love one another as I have loved you. What you do to the least of these, you do to me. He healed the marginalized. He embraced the unclean. He stood with the outcasts, not the empire. This genocidal project of erasing LGBTQIA plus people is not about Christianity, my friends. It's about power, fear, and theocratic authoritarianism. But we remember, even when the rainbow is outlawed, it lives in the sky, and it cannot be erased. Even when they erase our names from the books, we are etched in eternity. Even if they jail our bodies, they cannot jail our spirits, because the spirit is unbound, it is boundless, and it is free, and it is divine. Because queer people are prophets, trans people are mirrors of the divine, and love cannot be legislated out of existence, although they will try. So this is the line we draw. We will not assimilate, we will not be erased, and we will not bow down to the altar of the sameness and fear. We will sing, we will testify, we will march, we will survive, we will pray, and we will meditate, and we will affirm, and we will build a new world where the rainbow is not forbidden, it is sacred. Trans bodies are not a curse, they are temples. Queer love is not a threat, it is a holy revelation. If you don't fit the mold, you're not just excluded, you're accused, you're punished, you're erased. That's what we're seeing now. But let us look at this theological lie. Nowhere in the Bible did Jesus call for the execution of gay people. Nowhere does God demand the sterilization of trans youth. Know that this is not Christianity, it is idolatry of power in God's name. So, to all those who belong to one or more of these targeted groups, I say to you once again, you are not a threat. You are a light. You are not what's wrong with this country and this world. You are what makes it sacred. And I love you, and you are loved. And you're being called to love yourself unconditionally in every moment, through all of the fear, through all of the terror, and to have courage and faith that you will survive and that we will survive. That we see you, we remember you, and we rise. And so this story that we have been talking about of Cain and Abel, where one brother kills another in jealousy and anger, and what we're seeing, just know that this is a godless action. And those claiming Christian belief and belief in Jesus, when really God is not in any of that. And they are truly under the spell of the great adversary. This is a deep spiritual truth. And this is a truth that cuts to the core of what's really happening beneath politics, policies, and posturing to the spiritual realm and the spiritual reality of each and every soul and each and every being. And what we're witnessing in the GOP and the MAGA movement and in all these type of movements is driven by violence, domination, erasure, and fear. It's not the embodiment of any Christian values whatsoever, but the ancient pattern of Cain and Abel playing out once again. And can you see that? Cain and Abel is really a sacred mirror for us at this time. And in Genesis, Cain and Abel both bring offerings to God, and Abel's offering is accepted, Cain's is not. Rather than seek understanding, Cain becomes very jealous and resentful and violent. He kills his own brother, not because Abel harmed him, but because Cain could not face his own emptiness. And are we not seeing that right now? Am I my brother's keeper? Cain, after the murder. And that question still echoes in 2025. So as we look at this modern day Cain and Abel story unfolding, when LGBTQ plus, IA plus people, immigrants, black and brown people, disabled people, women, and others stand in truth, when we stand in truth and we thrive in joy, or when we find strength in faith, what does the far right do? And others that believe like them? They attack, they lie, they legislate harm, they criminalize difference. Just like Cain, they strike down what they cannot control or do not understand. Not out of holiness, my friends, but out of jealousy of our authenticity, out of rage at their own internal void that they feel, out of fear of losing power that they do not have and that they will never have, and shame, their own shame disguised as righteousness. They invoke God, but God is not in it, I assure you. So they will say to me, Lord, Lord, and I will say, I never knew you. That is Jesus from Matthew 7:22 to 23. I never knew you. So when politicians invoke the name of Jesus to pass anti-trans laws and ban books and criminalize poverty or rip immigrant families apart, know that that is not God, and it will never be God. That is the great adversary wearing a mask. It is the spell of the adversary. And in the Bible, the names of the adversary are the deceiver, the accuser, the father of lies, the one who twists Scripture. And what we see now is not divine morality. It is spiritual abuse, weaponized to maintain control. It is the false gospel of exclusion, the idolatry of nationalism, the demonization of love, and the betrayal of the true teachings of Christ. The spirit of Abel is still with us, and it still rises. And yet, like Abel's blood, truth still cries out from the very ground. And in every trans child who dares to speak their name, in every queer leader who survived conversion, in every immigrant who carries their family on faith, in every disabled person who claims their sacred body, in every poor person who still gives love despite lack, and in every woman who embraces the power and authenticity and autonomy of her own body, including trans women and trans men. The spirit of Abel has not died, it has risen again, and it is now organized. So know that Cain can no longer lead the church. If we are to follow the teachings of Christ for those who are Christian, we cannot allow Cain to write the laws. We cannot let jealousy, fear, and hate dress up as holiness. The ones they try to kill are the ones closest to God. Know that. And the ones that they try to silence are the ones echoing truth the loudest. So let us say clearly, and remember this, LGBTQIA plus people are not the enemy. You are not the enemy, my friends. You are family and you are loved. I love you. God loves you. And God is not MAGA or the GOP or a political party. And Cain has no place at the altar of love. I ask you again, am I my brother's keeper? Cain from Genesis 4:9. You will know them by their fruits. And Jesus from Matthew said, they will say, Lord, Lord, but I will say, I never knew you. And so know that really what we're seeing is that we are living in a world at war with truth at this very moment. So beloved family of spirit, we are living in a time when truth is not just denied, it is punished. And we are living through a spiritual war. but not the kind the Christian nationalists scream about on the news that we're seeing. This is a war between authenticity and conformity, love and control, God and the great deceiver. And make no mistake, what we are witnessing now across this country is the story of Cain and Abel playing out once again. And just know that God is not in any of that. And it is time for us to rise and to claim our own spiritual right and divinity and holiness and all of this. And so I speak to you now as a prophet, as a survivor, as a transgender woman of God, and as a spiritual leader. We can no longer allow Cain to write these laws. We can no longer allow those under the spell of fear to call themselves the voice of faith. We are our siblings' keepers. We are the protectors of those they try to erase. We are the resurrection of the voices they silence. We are the sacred resistance. Can you feel that? Do you feel that within yourself? And if we must stand alone, we stand, but we will never be silent again. Know that we are the rainbow covenant. The rainbow is not just a flag. It is a divine promise that God will never destroy life again. And now we must proclaim, we will not let Cain destroy the rainbow. We are not here to assimilate into their fear. We are here to transform this world through love. Let those who hear this message rise up with truth, with compassion, with righteous fire, and with the full authority of the Spirit that still speaks in every queer, trans, immigrant, disabled, black, brown, or poor, and woman, and non-conforming soul. And our final prayer for this message tonight. Holy One of many names, may we never forget that love is our law, that justice is our worship, that every human soul reflects your divine breath. Strengthen us against the spirit of Cain. Anoint us to protect the sacred flame, and guide us to build the world where no one must hide to survive. In the name of all that is holy, seen, and becoming. A woman, amen, and a them, and so it is. So, beloveds, go in power, go in truth, go as the living rainbow, because you are the evidence that God does not make mistakes. And know that we are sacred, we are rising, and that we are here. And let us take all of that in as we go into our meditation. And our meditation, the title, The Spirit Still Cries Out. And so just take a few deep breaths and relax in the space that you are in as we take all of this into meditation. Take a deep breath in and gently exhale. Again, breathe in the sacred breath of life and release anything heavy. Let your body find stillness. Let your heart remember. Let your spirit come home. And now, imagine a world trying to erase color, where rainbows are outlawed and truth is silenced. Now see yourself standing in that world, radiant, bright, refusing to disappear. You are not a shadow. You are not a mistake. You are not a problem to be solved. You are the living covenant of love. And now feel the ground beneath you. Abel's blood still cries out from that ground, not just in pain, but in power. Say silently to yourself, I am sacred, I am truth, I rise in love. Now feel those words settle into your bones, your breath, your soul. Now place your hand over your heart and know that in this moment you are seen, you are protected, you are rising. Breathe in courage, breathe out shame, breathe in clarity, and breathe out fear. And know there is no room for Cain at your altar. There is no room for silence in your song. Only truth, only justice, only divine resistance. Let your final breath in this meditation be a sacred declaration. Breathing in, I will not be erased. Breathing out, I am a child of the divine. Breathing in, I am here, I am holy, I am love. And breathing out, let the silence hold you for a moment more. And then when you are ready, open your eyes and return as you feel yourself coming back to this place in time, taking with you the knowing that you are sacred, you are rising, you are here. And so it is. And now we have our special new original song, We Rise Like Abel, a song of sacred resistance and divine remembrance. Let us just contemplate the words as we continue to take all of this in as we are rising like Abel.
They tried to silence sacred light with fear disguised as holy might. But even when they burn the sky, we rise like stars they can't deny. We rise like Abel, truth on fire, born of breath and bold desire. We are the rainbow, not erased. We shine with love, we move with great love. They cannot take, we shine with love, we move with grace. They cannot take, while God has still rise. We rise. We rise inside.
beautiful that was. Amazing. It looks like we have to do a little something on TikTok here. I have to move a little piece of the puzzle where it belongs. Okay, and I did that, and I guess we're back there. So hopefully that all continued on. Wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that beautiful? Can you feel that? That our spirit still cries out, and that we are rising like Abel. We rise, we rise, we rise in sight. How beautiful. And now is our time for tithes and offerings, and just know that your love supports our sacred mission. And you can give at universalrainbowfaith.org on the homepage and go to our donation page. We are now using Tidely. All of your contributions are tax deductible. We are a 501c3, a full public charity. And we thank you so much that know that this ministry is thriving and growing off of your loving contributions and tithes. You can set up regular giving every week or every month. We have some special funds set up beyond our general operating fund for a building expansion and also a worldwide ministry sustaining fund. And we thank you for that and making that dream and that miracle come true. Our affirmation for our tithing: my love flows through my giving, my gift uplifts the sacred. Say that with me. My love flows through my giving, my gift uplifts the sacred. And our closing blessing. We thank you for showing up in love today, my friends. Go forth in your light, in your truth, in your sacredness. And remember, you are divine and you are not alone. And stick around afterwards as we have our Meet the Minister meet and greet. I'll be able to take your questions and comments through messaging. I'll be happy to speak with you and answer any questions that you have. And let us close out with our URF original, Embracing Togetherness. And feel free to join in if you like. You can also hear all of this music on YouTube on our Sacred Music playlist. In every color we unite, together we shine, bring the light. Through stormy weather, through the pain, with open hearts, we'll break the chains. It's you and me, we'll stand so tall, in the rainbow's embrace, we'll never fall. Hand in hand, we'll share the dream, a tapestry of love, woven at the seams. With every hue of voice is strong, together as one, where we all belong. It's you and me, we'll rise above, in the rainbow's embrace, we spread our love. In every corner of the earth we sing, a symphony of hope that unity brings. With every color, let our love soar, together as one, forevermore. Thank you. Thank you for joining us this week. And please mark your calendars, subscribe, like, share, and follow. And join us next week and every Sunday at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time for our weekly live stream, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. Please follow us on Facebook to help us with our numbers on there and so that we can start live streaming directly from our Rainbow Faith page. Although I'm streaming from a personal page there now under Paula Sadler. Soon that will be as a very public profile. And but we are on YouTube and TikTok very easily to access us. So thank you, my friends. Blessings to you. And stick around as we now have our Meet the Minister meet and greet, and that is a lot of fun. So I'm just going to come around here, and we're going to change the orientation of our Facebook at this time. So let's go ahead and turn that around so that I can see all of you who are so lovely. Okay, here we go. Wonderful. And let's see if I can get in all three camera views. That will be a miracle and magical. Hello out there in the social media verse. Okay, so welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you're just tuning in, I'm Paula Sadler, and I am the founding minister and president here at Universal Rainbow Faith Church here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So do you have any questions or comments? My TikTok screen is a little far away. I'm not sure if messaging is available on that. I really have to look into that. But you can also tune in on our YouTube live stream, and there is a chat that is available. So hello, Kelly, I can see you there. Hello, everyone on TikTok. So glad that you're here. Okay, I don't see any questions right now. Well, I just want to say thank you for joining us. We had a lot to cover tonight. It was a pretty big and hefty topic that we had. We had a lot of very heavy ideas that we were going over and concepts that we were talking about. And I'm so grateful to have this space to be able to be here with you. I call this my little soapbox. So welcome to my soapbox. But more than that, I'm so grateful to be able to share my gifts and my talent and what I do, the spiritual work that I do, which I've been in the practice of over 30 years. And I have been honing that ability and that skill through thousands of hours of writing and contemplation and meditation and prayer. And it just proves that transgender people like myself, that we are not suffering from mental illness. I invite you to peruse and to listen to all of these last almost 4 months now of services that I have been providing. And you make the distinction for yourself. Does that sound like the words of someone suffering from insanity? I don't think that we can have this compartmentalized, way of being. If some people are looking at someone's gender identity and expression as, oh, well, that part of them, they're suffering from delusion and insanity. I think that would carry over into many other areas of life and really not being able to distinguish the truth from the false. So there are so many of us living in the world with beautiful lived experiences who are contributing and have contributed to the growth of this planet, of societies and humankind since the beginning of time, since the beginning of our known histories. And I'm here as a testament to that. And I will continue to be here to support our community and allies. And for those who misunderstand us, and for those who are so filled with anger or hatred and all of what they've been taught, and all they can see is what they think of as sin or immorality, and somehow we're not even worthy of the God that they believe in, of love from that God. But how can that be true? I think that we can see the truth if we just look around. If you can just look into the eyes of your friends and your family and look into their lives of women like myself and of trans women, of trans men, of the whole transgender community, the whole non-binary community. Although people may not fully understand, if you want to know something, what do you do to know something? If you don't know about a subject in school, it's not like you arrive in kindergarten and all of a sudden you're graduating, in the 12th grade. It doesn't happen like that. Everything is a building block of education, not only in the sense of schooling and in that kind of education, but in our consciousness, in our spirituality, in our way of being, in the growing and learning of what's really important in this world. And that is unconditional love. That is what's important if we want to survive as a species in this particular space and time and dimension of space and time that we know, that we call Earth, and what we know to be our history and where we are now. Because this is just a tiny speck in the grand universe and all of eternity. And we're each here to do very specific things to share our gifts with the world and to live in joy. I don't know about you, but I didn't come here to be unhappy or to suffer. I did not come here to not share and develop my gifts, to share it with others. I came here to be whatever God has willed, and the same for you and for all of us. It is our job to discover that. And in that, there should be joy. So I invite you to, if you're not in sync with your divine gifts and what you came here to do, what you came here to be, what can you offer this world? How can you make it better before you leave this world? So that is my message this week. It was pretty heavy stuff, but we really must have the truth. We cannot afford to not have the truth. And spiritual truth, as what we're talking about today and what we went over today and talked about, it is not subjective. It is not bias. There is a difference. There is a difference between the unawakened and those who are living at a level of what I call basically a spiritual amnesia. And then you do have others living in the world who are working so actively. Not only have they become awakened and quickened in their own mind and in their spiritual revolution of themselves, bringing all that is true and right and good in this world, there is a difference. And I think it's very clear to see. It's very plain to see. All you have to do is look around. You can turn on the news. You can turn on any channel. You can walk out into the neighborhood, into the street, into your local communities. And you know who is awakened and living with compassion and empathy, which are so important. Is, I believe, the most important discovery that we have to make, and the reason for being here is the development of unconditional love for ourselves and all others. And you know the people who are not living that way. And it is something we strive for. It's not perfect, but I believe that once a soul becomes enlightened and awakened and has that knowledge within and has had that experience, it cannot be turned off. It's like the light has been turned on and it can never be turned off. It can never go away. So it's the job of those who have become awakened and who are living in that state of grace and compassion to help others along the way. Others that we sometimes say, or we see them as, oh, well, they are the other, or they are the enemy, or they are the problem. Well, what are you going to do about that? And what we can do is we can be a demonstration. We can be a demonstration of God's infinite love and grace, no matter how difficult it is. And if we look back through history, you can see the many that have come before that have done that. And unfortunately, many met a very untimely death and suffered at the hands of others by bringing a message of love and hope and peace. But we cannot let that stop us, because what if they never did what they came to do? What if they said, well, that's a little too difficult. That's too hard. I'm not going to give that message. I'm not going to develop that ministry. I am not going to put myself out there that way and be open to that. What if all the people that came before, all of the great spiritual teachers and philosophers, and those who gave such enlightened and beautiful messages for humanity, what if they said, that's too hard. I can't do it. You and I would not be sitting here today. I believe we would already have seen the entire destruction of this planet. And so we must pick up where they left off, and we must take the gifts that have been given to us and use them to continue on to help heal all of humanity, no matter how long it takes or how hard it is. And know that you're not alone in doing that. I'm here with you. We're here together. And so I love you, I bless you, and a special prayer to those who are causing the suffering and the violence and the harm. I pray that their minds are awakened, that they become aware of the presence of God's love, of the real and true teachings of unconditional love and compassion. That is our greatest teacher in this world. And I pray that that happens quickly, and that we don't give up on being a demonstration of that for others, because they need it. We don't need it. If you're already there, you have it. You can't lose it. So we must give that away. And that is a very tall order, my friends. But I'm here with you every week to help do that, to help uplift our community, because in generations to come, they may be watching this, they may be seeing this. Long after I'm gone, my hope is that the universal rainbow faith message will live on for generations of LGBTQIA plus people and allies, and all those who are seeking spiritual enlightenment and spiritual awakening at the very greatest depths of their soul, so that their souls can go on throughout eternity in joy, and yet sharing that with another and another in an endless chain of love. So, namaste, thank you, blessings to all of you, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Good night.